Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 1 out of 2 games between Włochaty and YueJin in round 3 of the second European tournament. Today we are going to be seeing Pegasus Bridge, and on the Allied side, Włochaty is using the 2nd Armoured French. On the Axis side, YueJin is using the 12th SS-Panzer. Now this is an interesting matchup. It's nice to see Włochaty on the 2nd Armoured once again. He's definitely utilised their early aggression in the past to win games. And basically the way that the French work is they build up in Phase A and then they utilise the 2-star Shermans in Phase B to really break through and hammer the game home. If they fail to do so by the end of Phase B, that's where they can suffer against the German divisions due to the Germans having superior armour in the late game that the 2nd Armoured French cannot really deal with. Now YueJin will have a couple of aces up his sleeves if he sort of has the Jagdpanzers on his division. Moving into Phase B, those can be a great counter to some of the French aggression, but we'll have to wait and see if YueJin actually utilises those, because it does also depend quite a lot on what he has in Phase A on his AT tab. The reason being is in Phase A you can get Pak 38s, you can also get Panzerschrecks, but taking those leaves you with only 1 slot for a Jagdpanzer, because there's only 3 slots of AT in the 12th SS Panzer. So sort of balancing the A into Phase B for the 12th SS is going to be basically the sort of decider in this game, and how YueJin manages a boy to Firefly if he brings one in, or even things like the boy to Cromwell to maybe give himself an advantage in some areas. But it's going to be unlikely to gain some advantage against the 2nd Armoured French in Phase A. And that's mainly because of things like the M8 Spy, the Stuarts, and the fact that they can support those with the infantry mortars in order to counter enemy AT if there's any in Włochaty's way. So that's basically what I'm going to be looking for from Włochaty, is like that sort of armoured column supported by a mortar to break through the AT and then find a salient that he can exploit. And then into Phase B, back that up even more with those strong Shermans, and that's kind of what we're going to be waiting to see throughout this game. But let's have a quick look at the deployment. On the top side, we have the flamethrower units with some Nueve in the M5A1 half-track. There's also going to be some command up there. Further down, we see the voltages. Another unit of Nueve. Got some pioneers in there with the command, and also the M8 Spy. Further down, it's going to be some more flamethrowers with a command and an AT gun. And then on the very bottom side, it's just 1 flamethrower squad. Going to be trying to hold the open down here, which can definitely hold the front line forwards, but whether or not it will actually hold the front line remains to be seen, because if YueJin focuses on some of the 20mm autocannon units, that may be difficult for Włochaty to deal with. So YueJin on the top side, he's going to be going for a Pak 38, accompanied by some command infantry there, with some Panzer Grenadiers and the Spähstrupp. Further down, it's going to be more Panzer Grenadiers and another unit of command for the town. Another unit of Panzer Grenadiers with another AT gun. Another AT gun on the bottom side here. And on the very bottom, we see a 4th AT gun. That is very telling, because it basically, you can only get 2-star AT guns, or 1-star AT guns, sorry. You can get 2 in 2 packs in the AT tab. And so that means that 2 of YueJin's AT choices were taken up by AT guns, and that's basically YueJin trying to counter some of the aggression that the 2nd Armoured French can bring in Phase A. So on the bottom side, he's also going to be using the 259. There's going to be the infantry supporting that. So just in general, YueJin going for the sort of generic 4 lines of defense. And then it seems as though Włochaty is going to be focusing quite heavily into the town with the M8 Spy supporting the infantry play, and then a little bit of infantry play on the top side with the M5A1 supporting the Nueve with the command into the town. But if there was a 20mm autocannon, or if like a 259 comes in, then it could definitely push this back and maybe make a lot of ground. And I think the way that YueJin can make ground in Phase A here is to really get aggressive with the autocannon units where there are not units like M8 Spies. Although the trouble is with trying to get aggressive on multiple sides of the map for the 17th or 12th SS, they really do leave themselves overextended. And the M8 Spies, because they're so fast on road, they can react very quickly on a map like Pegasus, where the roads go from top to bottom. As you can see from this town, this M8 Spy can move all the way up to the top side if it has to, or all the way down to the bottom side. And it makes him very, very flexible. But włochaty cleanly taking the town so far, only one unit of Panzer Grenadiers in the way. Looks like YueJin is going to be bringing in a 259 to the town. He's actually got 2 now on the way. And those are his best bet for dealing with half-tracks and fire support vehicles at close range. Even the M8 Spies can go down to the 259s quite easily at close range. So if these are microed properly, which I would expect from YueJin, then we will definitely see a lot of damage done by them. YueJin's going to have to be careful here, allowing his Panzergrenadier to be spotted in this tower. A little bit of a mistake. Ideally, you don't want them to be engaged at all. Unless they are at close range, because they do have 2-star veterancy and 6 HE, so they're not terrible if they are in hard cover and the unit you're going up against is not. But the flamethrower squads there, they're going to be providing the smoke support that those Nueve need to get out of that line of fire of the Panzer Grenadiers. Pioneers are going to be trying to jump forwards and get the flamethrower onto the Panzergrens. You can see YueJin immediately micros those back to stop that from happening. As he does not want those to be pinned down and surrendered, although that wouldn't happen due to the command. But either way, they would take a lot of damage from that flamethrower, so you don't want to push that engagement if you don't have to, which is why YueJin's being very defensive here. With this 259 on the top side, that can definitely support against the M5A1 half-track, and that's one thing that I think YueJin's going to look to do. 259 took out the M5A1 in the town. So this is a very good opportunity here for YueJin to do a lot of damage, but he can't allow this M8 Spy to find the shot onto the 259, otherwise he will be in trouble, especially in this town here where the M8 Spy and its machine guns could pin down this infantry very quickly and allow the pioneers to push forwards. So the flamethrowers, they are making it to the town. It looks like the Panzergrenadier might be able to try and do a little bit of damage there, but the best way to do it would be like micro in and out to avoid the flamethrower getting on target. So włochaty definitely building up some forces. The big difference that I didn't mention between these two divisions is the 100 points per minute for włochaty and the 70 points per minute for YueJin, which definitely leaves the 12th SS light on their feet in the early game, whilst włochaty will be building up a significantly higher amount of forces, and you can see that starting to take effect here as the infantry reinforcements continue to come in. 81mm mortar now on the field as well will be able to help with some AT if he comes up against it. So the M5 half-track here, M5A1, it managed to retreat behind the tree line, which was quite nice for włochaty. Managed to get that out of the way. It's also brought in another one further down though, and honestly a 2-prong attack from the 50 cals could defeat a 259 at close range because of the 50 cals having enough HE there. But these Panzer Grenadiers, they are in trouble. They're going to be pushed upon by the voltages there and the flamethrower squad. There's also the Spy. 259 is going to back off from the engagement with the half-track. Here we go. Flamethrowers taking a lot of damage, surrendered. You can see they went down to 3 health there before they died. And that was what I was mentioning in the town about the engagement not wanting to happen either way, regardless of whether or not they got pinned. So, Panzergrens, they're going to be taking on Nueve. Fortunately for YueJin, MG42s win out against the MGs of the Nueve because the Panzergrens have 2. The Panzergrens in the town, though, they're not faring too well against the flamethrower squad. However, the Panzergrenadier, if they're both targeted, should be able to take that out, and they do so. Panzergrenadier manages to stay alive as well, which is fantastic, and now the 259 at close range can hit those Nueve very hard indeed. But the M8 Spy has come up and will be engaging the 259. We can see the 259 in the mid did go down. We also see that the AT gun here is lined up and ready to shoot the Boiter Cromwell that's been brought in. The Boiter Cromwell can definitely help control this bottom side, but with włochaty slowly but surely making his way through this town with some superb micro, YueJin's really struggling to reinforce this due to the lack of sort of income basically, and the expense of his infantry. Like these Panzer Grenadiers, they cost 35 points a pop, and when you bring them in with the half track, which costs 20, they cost a severe amount to bring in. When you're only making 70 points per minute, that's like one infantry squad per minute, which is definitely not enough. So he is struggling to deal with all this infantry aggression at the moment. The M8 Spy has managed to finish off the 259. Pak 38's struggling to kill the M8 Spy, but doesn't find itself pinned down. But with the Nueve cleaning up the Panzergrens in the town, and now the Panzergrenführer, well, it's not going to be long until this Pak 38 goes. But the M8 Spy, that's going to be taken care of. And that was a nice kill actually for the Pak 38, but that's going to have to continue to fall back. But with the aggression from the M5A1, it's going to be reliant on this Pak 38 to stop that from destroying the Pak 38. Does get the weapon jam, which is quite nice, but hasn't been forced to fall back. So like it looks like YueJin didn't notice that wasn't falling back anymore, and therefore lost it. Now the half track here, that's gone down. That's not going to be able to support the Panzer Grenadiers anymore, and that's just like a quick 20 points that's just taken out of the picture. 259 going to be looking for the engagement with the M8 Spy at close range, but that is an easy close range one-shot kill for the M8 with the 2-star veterancy. It's very unlikely that they are going to miss at that range, and these Panzer Grenadiers, they do not fare well into those machine guns. Just look how quickly that squad went down, and that's a solid 55 points just like that. Absolutely destroyed. That's the half-track and the Panzergrens together. So at this point, YueJin just needs to try and recover his position. He has a relatively nice position on the bottom side. His best bet really is to allow this Boys of Cromwell to maybe get a bit of a job done on this bottom side. But these Panzergrens being forced to fall back down here isn't great, since it looks like there is a command car on the way that could potentially actually just drive down to the bottom side, but with the 259 there, that's not going to happen. So yeah, Włochaty's in a very strong position, and he's managed to find himself a +2 before phase B. So now if we see the Shermans come in, that's where things could get really difficult. But nice kill there for YueJin, manages to kill some infantry inside that half track before they unload. Now some command coming in to help give the veterancy to the Pak 38 and the Panzer Grenadier. Boys of Cromwell is going to have to back off from the engagement with the M8 since it cannot penetrate. The Speertroop, they're going to be moving up. Panzergrenführer actually managed to surrender a unit of infantry on their own, which is quite nice, but with pioneers nearby, probably not going to last too long. Włochaty going to be able to micro those forwards. You can see him utilizing the queued commands. So he's got an attack move to here, and then he's going to attack move to here, just so that they use the hedgerows. But Panzergrenführer, yep, they are gone. We do see that the smoke came down onto the M8 Spy. That was very smart, actually, from Włochaty. If that was from the mortar, then that was really, really nice, because it stopped the Pak 38 from finding the kill onto the M8, as you can see. So, yeah, awesome stuff. Boys of Cromwell, though, that is getting extremely aggressive towards the M8, and the closer it gets, the more chance that the M8's just going to one-shot this Boys of Cromwell. So I feel like this may be a massive mistake here from YueJin. Ideally, you just want to be reversing, utilizing 1,200 meter range, because it has 3 armor. That's the difference. At close range, like HE, it doesn't make any difference, right? And now the AT gun's going to be engaging as well. That just manages to get out of range. But now the M8 is breathing down his neck, and that is surely going to be a kill. Track will destroy. The Boys of Cromwell is a sitting duck. AT gun's getting involved as well. Yeah, easy close range engagement there for the for the M8 Spy. Kills the Boys of Cromwell. And that is an expensive unit for YueJin to lose in the early game. It's not so bad that he loses his infantry and so on easily. But when you lose something like a Boys of Cromwell like that, it's a big mistake. And it definitely can cost you your chance of a comeback in this game. So now we've moved into Phase B. A Panzerwerfer is going to be brought in. I'm not entirely keen on that choice. These cost 120 points. And when you could be bringing in something like a Jagdpanzer to just completely lock down this bottom side of the map, that's something I would definitely prefer, but it really depends if YueJin even has one on his division. And here, well, the M8 Spies, they're going to be juggling back in and out, as you can see, so the Pak 38 has to realign and re-aim every single time. And that is just really, really smart micro there from Włochaty, utilising the cover from the smoke and the tree line there to overwhelm this Pak 38. And really, really nice to see the high level play that comes out from both of these players. And in this case, Włochaty just getting aggressive with these divisions. You can now see the M4A376s come in. It looks like Włochaty was saving a lot of points for Phase B and has basically spent them here on a 2-star M4A2, which is the 2-star M4s I was talking about, and then you've got the 76 versions, which have the 1,200 meter range that can really just absolutely annihilate any armor that YueJin brings in, except from YueJin Panzers, sorry. YueJin Panzers definitely stand up a lot better against M4s than Panzer 4s do, and YueJin's going to be utilizing Panzer 4s in this case, since they are less expensive and can be decent at close range due to their higher aim time being the H variant. Pak 38, that's going to have a go at the M4A2. M4A2 though, really all it needs to do is just face and attack the Pak 38, because the 10 front armor here is decent enough to sort of deter a Pak 38 from penetration, and that's something that it seems as though Włochaty is taking advantage of. He's also got the 81mm mortar on target as well, so Pak 38 is pinned down and dealt with. M4A2 is now going to be able to move up and deal with the 259. Panzerwerfer engaging the 57mm mortar and the Nueve. Well, no, the 57mm AT gun, sorry, not mortar. And that has taken it out, but considering there's no armor that's really going to get aggressive anytime soon, the AT gun being there was of no consequence, really. So destroying that doesn't really make too much of a difference in the grand scheme. M4A376 going to be pinning down those Panzer guns as they get aggressive, and they're going to now be falling back. And well, that's a one shot from the M4A376, comes straight in, bangs that Panzer 4, and YueJin's going to surrender. Another Panzerwerfer was on its way. 12 minutes and 58 seconds it took for Włochaty to defeat YueJin, and considering the quality of the players, that is a quite surprising victory there for Włochaty. I knew that he would definitely be able to get aggressive in Phase 8 with the 2nd Armoured French, but his superb micro just came out to play there, and YueJin just didn't have the units to deal with it due to the low income and the high cost. And that's like the main crux of the 12th SS in Phase A. It's just that combination of high cost units with low income. And so if you get behind, it's really hard to come back. And that's what snowballed the game in Włochaty's favour in the end. Moving into Phase B, Włochaty had plenty of points saved. You could see just how cost efficient he was being with his units, and it shows in the KD as well, with the 895 kills to 380 losses. In terms of kills, well, the M8 spies, that one cleaned up the 259. We saw the other M8s do really well, killing the Boy to Cromwell, the 259, and overrunning that half track with the nice in and out of cover micro. That was just really well done. The 57mm not a mortar, it's an AT gun, took out plenty of supporting units. Nueve and mortars hit the Pak 38s. In terms of losses, well, we see that the 259s, they can support well at close range. So taking out these M5A1s is really important. And I think that 259s can definitely exploit salients very well when there is less units on the field, so like from the beginning of the game. But it didn't seem like they were pushed aggressively. Like, for example, there was that one flamethrower squad on the bottom side. The 259 could have just completely ran over and made a lot of ground with. But due to the aggression of Włochaty moving into the town and the fact that he had the town under his control, it made like salients on the top and bottom side for YueJin harder to control because the fire support could come in from the mid, which could basically flank his units and force him to be fought on two sides, which is not good. Like where his Boy de Cromwell got kind of left in that awkward position. It was a bit of a mistake there to move towards the M8. I think that was unintentional, but either way, the fact that Cromwell was in that position was because Włochaty had like center control, and then was also pressing in from the left side, of course, with that AT gun. So there we go. Pretty nice game there, clean game for Włochaty. Takes out YueJin with the 2nd Armoured French versus the 12th SS. We'll have to see if YueJin can bring one back in the second game. But until then, hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.